You had your chance and then you blew it.
That is the most absurd statement of the year.
Nice. Nice.
Oh, baby.
I'm in my zone, I'm feeling it.
Live from Rock Solid Studios in Granite Falls, it's time for MinneZona Sports, live with DJ Matty C. and Paul the Shield Vold.
And this is MinneZona Sports Live. We are back, yes! Episode 117, episode 117 coming at you, and coming in hot for one. And yes, that was a TikTok reference, but
oh gosh,
we'll go from there. Anyway, I'm your host, DJ Matty C, a.k.a. Kelly, a.k.a. Kelly, a.k.a. Matty C, etc., etc., etc. And all the way from Woods and Shore Studios in Aiken, Minnesota, Paul Volt, the Shield. What is going on there, Shield?
It feels like it's been about 3 weeks since we've done the show, but it's literally only been a week. It's probably the fact that I'm running on about 3 hours of sleep. I can barely see out of one good eye to begin with. But you know what? It's Wednesday. It's Tom Brady's birthday. We're feeling amazing right now.
We are feeling amazing right now. A lot of things going on in the world of sports, but and a lot of things going on the socials. Things have been blowing up. People have been wondering who's on the show, who's going to be on the show, who did you interview? We have it to you. Our guy from Bally Sports North, Alex Zappa, joins the show. We will play that right after this, and this is our graphic that we have. of what we did with Alex. We've been trying to get Alex for a long time. I remember he said to me specifically not too long ago, he said, I'm kind of offended that I haven't been on your show yet. That's what he said to me. And I'm like,
Wow.
well, we need to have this. We need to get this going. And obviously, we were able to work some things out. And Alex was on with us. And we had a fantastic time. I mean, there were
awesome.
so many things that we learned from what he does at Bally Sports North. And then there's things that we found out that I didn't even know about him. I've known Alex for years. And he's telling me he's a model, he's an actor now. What the heck is going on here? He's met Shaq, he's interviewed Cat. I mean, we got a lot of fun coming your way with this Alex Zappa interview and whatnot. But after the interview, we're going to be talking a lot about the Twins. Big moves from the Twins for Tater Tot Hot Take, our only hot take tonight. And then ARA, obviously Deshaun Watson, another big thing. With that, talking about that trade deadline in the MLB, so lots of things happening, Voldy. We're gonna be busy here on MinneZona Sports Live. Mm-hmm. So, without further ado, and no special segment this week because we had Alex on. So, Voldy, I say we get things going, and let's hope you guys enjoy our interview with Bally Sports reporter Alex Zappa. And he's a model. He's an actor, too. So I forgot to add that in. But, hey, enjoy. All right, we're back on MinneZona Sports Live. We have a very, very special guest. We've actually been talking about this for a while, and we've been trying to get him on. Yeah, for a long time. Wow. And we finally got him. Alex Zappa of Bally Sports North. Claps all around. Claps all around.
Woo, 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 woo. Gentlemen, my people...
Welcome.
Have just been, they've been running this through me. The schedule's just been packed, but for you two, I cleared everything, and so we got nothing behind us. The road is ahead, and it is a pleasure to be joined by two such handsome devils as yourself.
Well, we're not the models or anything like that, but we'll get to that in a second. But yes, welcome, Alex. We appreciate you coming on the show. And, this is going to be fun. I'm really looking forward to it. And, yeah.
Well, Matt, we go way back. I've known you longer than, so many people
That's true.
in my life.
That's true.
We met when I was, 10, maybe 9.
When did you go to St. Joe's? I can't remember.
I'm 5th grade. I got there 5th grade.
Was that 5th? Yeah.
Yeah, so what? You're 11. We're starting to grow some hair. I'm 10. I've known you for almost 20 years, so it is.
Well, Zaps, let's get things started. With obviously we're very laid back. We got questions for you, and then later on we'll do some rapid fire with Shield, so the zoners can get to know you a little bit more. But so Alex, let me ask you, how long have you worked with Bally Sports North, and what's that experience been like for you all these years? What do you got?
Yeah, no. Well, I was a double business major in college and did not find media until my senior year. I interned with a TV station. So I've been there for 6 years, and I started as a production assistant. I had no reel out of college, no nothing. I got a job doing this high school show on Channel 9 because it's a long story, but I somehow lucked into a couple jobs where I could make a living. And so first 2 years doing PA stuff, the reporting at Channel 9 went well. They let me do some digital opportunities. I didn't crash and burn. And then they eventually, give you a camera guy and you hope that you treat them well. And so it's been 6 years where every year you get a taste of something new, taste of something fresh. And sometimes, and I've taken steps back. Sometimes you take a leap and then you got to, go down a step because maybe you weren't ready or maybe, the situation wasn't right, but it's been a long, winding path to where we are now. But it's been a good journey so far.
It sounds like it because I don't even remember you doing stuff lately. Well, I mean, you were a big sports guy nonetheless. back in when we were at St. Joe's and all that stuff. But it kind of seems like, you found your niche and whatnot, and you've worked your way, and that's kind of the main thing. And, it's always a pleasure seeing your videos on Bally Sports North too, that are awesome. You're interviewing somebody who's just high energy. I've seen some of the outtakes too. Very funny, by the way, Zaps. It's just classic Zappa.
You guys know we're not perfect, okay?
Yeah,
right.
You're gonna screw up if you're doing voiceovers. You're gonna have some kerfuffles.
Yeah.
But no, Matt, here's the deal. You know this. I grew up with learning disabilities. And so, I needed more times on my test. I had dyslexia, ADHD. So as a kid, I kind of got to a point where I'm like, I will not have a very conventional professional career.
Right.
That's not what I was good at. It's not what I was suited at. Right. So,
Right.
I was a college athlete. I played 3 sports in college. I played baseball. I was on the diving team. I did track. And so it's the language I spoke. It's what I was good at. And so when I was graduating, you get in that car, you're on your way home from college. You go, wow, next year isn't school. It's work.
Right.
And I got to start paying insurance soon. Like, what am I going to do? But you think about how do I want to live every single day? And for me, some people would love the office structure and the routine of that and the security. For me, that wasn't going to suit what my strengths were. So I defined something that could utilize what my strengths were. And that was not writing emails or math. It was talking and communicating. And I got very lucky that some people took a chance on a kid who did not really have anything to show for it except belief and hope and maybe a little bit of potential. And I don't know, it's gotten me this far, which isn't too great, but we're still alive. We're still kicking. So that's all right.
That's all that matters. That's all that matters. So as long as you're happy, my man. So that's all we got. But my next one, what have you learned, so far at Bally? Who has kind of, showed you the ropes, things like that. And, what's kind of the biggest thing you've learned there?
I go back to Tom Hanneman, who passed away a couple years ago. But he was a legend. He was the very first radio TV sideline reporter for the Timberwolves. He called their games. He called all the KG games back in the day. He was a great studio host for us. He worked for NBA. He was the first guy to interview Magic Johnson after he had his AIDS announcement because he was the NBA national radio guy. And so Tom Hanneman had done everything. He was kind of on the final 9 of his career, kind of, his last 9. And so just the way he treated people that, I remember I was, again, as a PA, I'm cutting highlights. Okay. I'm doing replay. I'm holding other people's microphones. I'm doing all that. And one day I was just kind of down. I was having a bad day. I was depressed. I wasn't happy. I wanted to be on TV. Instead, I'm helping people do it. Right. And he just comes over to me and says, this will happen. Just be patient. You got to wait your turn. And so I think the biggest thing I've learned in media is if you come with an open heart and you lead with love and there's no judgment, that you are going to get along with people. And the second you put your ego in there, then it's confusing and it gets conflated. And so just if you lead with trying to be a good person and come from a good place and ask good questions and have meaning behind them, it's going to work out well for you. So I think it's, you need everyone to do the job. And just because you're in one position or another doesn't make you better or worse. We're all just people doing this thing. And whatever your title is, whatever your job is not indicative of how you should be treated or your value. And I would say Tom Hanneman is the man that instilled that in me, that your job does not define your worth, that you as a human does. So just got to, got one love for everybody. I would also add, I think Marnie Gellner is someone who has been a big role model for me as far as just how she handles her work. Her work ethic is absurd. The things that she'll be at KFAN in the morning. Yeah. She'll take a Wolf Plus episode in the afternoon, and then she's reporting on a game that night. And it's just that I think the other thing you realize once you get to this stage is you don't get here without busting your ass. And then you need to do all the other things. Being talented isn't enough. You need to work. And so I think a lot of people have goals and have aspirations, but they don't have examples of how that's actually done. And at Bally Sports North, we have a lot of people that are very good at their jobs because they've taken the time to do that. And you need that. So I think being gracious is what I learned from Tom Hanneman, and from Marnie. I learned that you got to work your butt off and you got to hustle, and you can't complain. You just got to do it. And good things hopefully happen.
Boom. Oh, just a whole wealth of knowledge. And that was awesome. Just absolutely awesome, Zaps. So let me ask you, when with hard work, we're talking about Marnie here, when you're covering a game, like, when you're on the link side, which we'll get to in a second, what's your process before preparing for like a game, just a regular season game, things like that?
I mean, I think first of all, you just scout it out. You say, okay, do the team research, do the player research. You're looking for streaks, you're looking for trends. What's this team's strength? What's the opposing strength? Is it a confliction of strengths, or is it a perfect alignment in the inverse way? If you have a 7:00 game day, you're going to have a 10:00 shoot around where as a play-by-play sideline and color commentator, we get to watch that. So we're going to practice and we're seeing the scouting of the other team. And it's amazing how, Cheryl Reeve and Rebecca Brunson, Katie Smith, Ashley, all of them at the Lynx, they know exactly what's going to happen. And they're running plays. They're running reverse team, opposite team. And you get a firsthand look of why they're 4-time WNBA champions. Because then you watch the game, and what Cheryl Reeve said, don't bite on that pass. You see someone bite on the pass, and you're like, oh my God, that was it. You start to see, she'll say, 2 minutes left. This is the play they like to run out of bounds on near side out of bounds plays. And then you see it literally happen. And so you go to shoot around, you get to ask people media, you get to ask a player coach questions afterwards. Then you go about 3-4 hours, and that's where you're kind of finalizing your notes. Yeah. You're taking the quotes you got from the pregame presser, from the other stuff. You're aligning them with the subjects you're looking for. You get to the game 2 hours early. You have a visiting coach press conference, home coach press conference, and then you have another hour to kind of finalize your notes. And then once you're in the game, I know that I'm going to do a hit first time out. At halftime, I'm going to have a coach. If they're winning, I'm going to get a player. And then at the end of the game, I'm going to get a player if they win. But in between that, it's about what can I be an expert at, and how can I fill in this game in a way that our play-by-play and our color aren't, which they're extremely good at. But I have the chance where I don't have to be talking the whole time. I can watch from a different viewpoint a little bit, look at my numbers, look at my quotes, and then try to figure out where I can kind of bump in and out, hopefully.
Yeah, no, it's you have to know the team like from front to back is pretty much kind of how it is, I would assume, in some aspects, wouldn't you say, too?
Yeah, well, I think in a very concrete way, if you don't know more about this team than 99% of people that are watching or involved, like, what are you doing there? You know what I mean? Like, that's your job. So I have to know those things. And I'll be the first to admit, and again, it's kind of a chicken or egg conversation, I wasn't the biggest WNBA fan. I wasn't the biggest Lynx fan, frankly, but it's because it's not on SportsCenter. You know what I mean? It's not on States. So there was a little bit of a learning curve for this, but now getting acquainted and hoping to have gotten this job for the last couple of years, I have kept tabs on this team. So to answer your question, you better know your crap or else you shouldn't be there. So you got to know your stuff.
Yeah, I like that. That's a great answer. And now let's get to the Lynx. I mean, might as well. You've covered some Lynx games, which has been great, by the way. I saw the post-game interviews and things like that, and you were fantastic. They're 10-19 this season, which, it's you'd like to have that a little bit better. But what are your thoughts on them this year? And what do you think that there are rooms for improvement and things like that? And would you consider this maybe a rebuild year?
I think whenever Cheryl Reeve is your coach and general manager, it's never a rebuild, frankly. I should say frankly. This year's been very complicated because, well, here's the deal. Nafisa Collier isn't playing. She gave birth, and she has she's starting to work out again, which is great. I think if they would have, they're not technically eliminated yet. It'd be really tough for them to get into the playoffs. I think she might have been able to come back. I'm not reporting them. I'm just saying I think they got to the playoffs with Sill's final year, maybe. But that's the other thing. So a player that you're paying a lot of money and is probably your best player isn't playing. Sylvia Fowles in her last season has been great when she's played. she's battled injuries. Kayla McBride, really good guard, started the year overseas. And frankly, just Ariel Powers is a great player. She's had 2 30-plus point games this year. She's shown a bunch of promise, but she's taken the most shots on her team, and she hasn't been very efficient, and she'll be the first to tell you. So, I mean, the bottom line is we didn't have the talent this year, and I think Cheryl would admit that, and they did a lot of things well to be competitive, and it just wasn't in the cards this year. And it's a bummer because Sylvia Fowles has been a legend.
Yeah.
She'll be a ballot Hall of Famer. It's her last season. But at the end of the day, it's a really dense league. It's a really talented league. And if you're not on top of your game and you don't get some lucky breaks, you're just not going to win. And that's just what happened this year.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is that as long as Cheryl Reeve's around, I think they're set for a long time. I mean, she's a fantastic coach. I think, especially if you're bringing, 4 titles to Minnesota, I mean, that says a lot. And, we should play, but, obviously paying more attention, and especially, Maya Moore, going on to other things too. That's another factor as well. So, we'll see what happens coming up here for our Lynx. All right. We got to ask you, because you've been interviewing some pretty high profile guys, Anthony Edwards, Carl Anthony Towns, D'Angelo Russell. Dude, what is that like? Who has been, and let me ask you this, who has been the most fun interview out of, and it doesn't have to just be the Wolves, it could be Lynx, it could be Wild, whoever. Who has been your most fun interview so far? Go.
You would think I would have thought about this. I really haven't. I'll tell you what, the 3 that Cam Talbot on the Wild was an awesome guy. I talked to him during Wild Media Day, and I was blown away by him. Incredible dude. Glad he's back. Shout out Cam. Wait, did we trade him? Is he
we
gone?
Traded him. Yeah,
traded him.
Yeah.
That's right.
Billy G. Yeah.
Okay, well, all right, false news there. I love Cam, and I'm a Sylvia Fowles. I will say I've talked to her 4 times. I absolutely love Sylvia Fowles. Jalen Noel is a sneaky guy on the Timberwolves that I had a very good time talking with. And then I would say, Ant is pretty cool. I mean, Ant's
I knew it.
Ant's a very chill guy. And he's just game. I mean, the thing with him is I think a lot of us in this modern age live our life through this filter of media and correctness and thinking of the other perception as your inside of yours. And he just doesn't give a which is great. He just doesn't care. He's not thinking about anything except the moment. And it's very fun as a reporter to be across from someone who's not constantly censoring themselves. You know what I mean? So and again, he's just kind of iconic. So whenever you can get across from someone like that, it's just, you kind of remember how they walk, how they talk. And I remember after Game 5 of the Memphis series, Pat Bev and Ant are in the back of the Wolves press conference room. Chris Finch is up and they're waiting to go. And Pat Bev is sweaty. He's drinking. He asked the security guy for a Budweiser. They bring him a Budweiser. He's got cuts all over him. I mean, he looks like crap on it because he just went through war, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Ant is pristine. Not a bead of sweat, not a cut. I mean, the guy looked like he was ready for a cover shoot. And I'm just like, this guy's a superstar. Like, I think he put up 34. Like, we won, forced to Game 6. And he looks like he just got done like with a photo shoot. And I'm like, this guy's insane. So yeah, he's a blessing. He's a huge blessing.
Oh my gosh. Every video I've seen of Ant too, of like, it just the stuff that he says, it's hilarious. And people just love him for it. But he is a killer on the court too. I mean, the guy is putting posters on dudes like clockwork, throughout his 2-year career or something like that already. I mean, insane. And, great guy. We the ones, Jack, as he likes to say as well. So that's awesome. So Ant, and then what was it like with Kat and D'Lo?
Kat, I mean, D'Lo was very, very cool, very calm, very collected, very laid back. Very introspective.
Sure.
Is the word I would use about
Makes
D'Angelo
sense.
Russell, very conscious of himself and just kind of everything, frankly. Very wise. Struck me as a very wise dude.
Yeah.
And Carl's just really sincere, is what I would say
Yeah.
about that. He just means well. He's been here. He's here for a reason. He just re-signed here, which I think says a lot about. And I think he gets a hard time because I think Carl says what he should say, what a friend, and people think it's kind of cliche or whatever, but he actually means it, and his actions show it. So I think he actually gets a worse rap than he deserves. I think he's been extremely loyal to this franchise. I think he's dealt with a lot of change, a lot of losing.
Yeah.
The fact that he still wants to stay here is humongous. And so he tells you what you want to hear, but he means it. And there's something to that. So I appreciate that from him.
Yeah, definitely. And, when I saw those photos of you, interviewing those guys, I'm like, man, he just must be on cloud nine right now.
They're huge. I mean, they're also ginormous.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I'm a very proud 5'11" and a half with decent bone and muscle structure. And then those guys just put you to shame. It's like, it's a whole other world. I'll tell you.
That's good. So let's talk about the Wolves.
Sure.
For next year. I mean, obviously you have the Gobert trade. You give up a lot of first round picks. You give away Pat Bev. Me and Voldy are kind of about that. We love Pat Bev. I mean, honestly, we love the dog in him and everything like that. But so they give Vanderbilt up as well, Beasley, and their first round pick as well. So Zaps, I mean, They make the trade. They get get some free agents. I mean, how are the Wolves going to look next year? What are your thoughts on our Wolves coming up here in October, November?
For Paulie, are you sipping a Weezer there? What do you got going on?
No, I've been up since 4 a.m. This is my afternoon caffeine. It's only a Pepsi.
Okay.
Show tonight, I'll have a beer. How about that?
Afternoon Pepsi. Okay. I just wanted to double check down there. Just want to make sure.
Mm-hmm.
Maddie, here's the deal. I love this team this year.
Sure.
Because here's the deal. We have a lot of depth, even after the trade. Personally, very happy we had Patrick Beverley this last year. I think we needed him. I think 1 year was enough. And I'll just leave it at that. I think we wanted room for some new leadership, and I think we'll get that. And I think we needed his edge, and I think we got enough of it. So that's good. Here's the deal with Rudy Gobert is when you have a roster right now that has Anthony Edwards, Karl-Anthony Towns, and D'Angelo Russell, you need someone who doesn't need the ball. And so are you paying a lot for Rudy Gobert? Yes. Are you paying him in the wrong part of his age scale as a professional athlete? Probably. But are you getting exactly what this team needed, which is size, efficient scoring, and defense? 100%. And so to bring someone in, and guess what? If you have a championship team, you need 3 max players. Okay.
Yeah,
look at all of them. Any team. Look at the Bucks. You have Giannis, Middleton, and Holiday. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Every team has 3. So our is Rudy, Cat, and D'Lo. D'Lo will probably turn into Anthony Edwards at some point, right? So that's a core I can believe in. And I think if we don't make the Western Conference Finals, I think that's a failure. And and that's just for me what this team can do. I think Anthony Edwards is as talented as any wing in the NBA. I think Cat is one of the best number 2s in the entire NBA. And I think Rudy Gobert gives this team an edge that they began to get last year and that they will come into form with this year.
I think the reason why they went after Gobert, and correct me if I'm wrong too, is because they needed to fix defensively. I mean, they were one of the top scoring teams in the NBA, but defensively you can score 140, but if you give up 150, it's not very good. But this was kind of finding a guy in the middle to defensively help this team. Would you agree with that?
100%. No, I mean, I think we didn't have a rim protector. I mean, we just didn't. Karl-Anthony Towns has become a sturdy defender in the post. He's not someone who I think other teams are intimidated to get to the rack at, right?
Sure.
So Rudy gives you, I mean, he's the most intimidating post player you could say in the entire NBA besides maybe Joel Embiid.
Sure.
So it gives us two ways to win. Last year we won by outscoring teams. This year we can win low scoring games, which means that, if Ant has one of those, 5 for 20 games, we can still win. Last year, if he had that game, we would lose. So it gives us more variety in how we can win. And it helps other players too, because when you can shut down the paint, it puts the other team in tough position. So I can't wait to see how that defense is going to operate. Teams will go small on us, and I'm going to be curious to see what Chris Finch will do to counteract it. But he's one of the smartest coaches we have in the NBA, and him and Tim Conley will figure it out. I have full faith in that.
We're coming, baby. Let's go.
We are. The time to leave the train station is now, and they are a locomotive. They were fun to watch last year.
Yeah.
This year they will be dominant. They will be a dominant regular season team. I have no doubt about that whatsoever.
We're writing down that if they don't get that, see, Zaps, I don't know if you've tuned into our show, but we have these things called absurd statements that we do. Okay. If the Wolves don't get up to that point, you could be nominated. But I think they're going to get. I believe that they're going to get to 50 wins and things like that. So just be wary of that. I do want to say we do have that coming. So
I don't want to be on a poster board. So yeah, well, okay. I'll put the words a little bit more carefully, but I stand by it. I'm not backing down from my take.
There you go.
That's what I want to hear, Zaps. That's exactly what I want to hear. All right, let's get into some fun now, okay?
Sure.
Outside of your reporting for Bally Sports North, when did you become a model and when did you become an actor? How did that happen? Explain to me how the hell that happened, my friend.
I don't quite know myself. I'm still curious about that, if I'm being honest. No, I mean, the short of it is, I remember I was coming home from like this high school party, and Liz Rosner, very cute girl, shout out Liz Rosner. I think she's married, but it's still shout out to Liz Rosner. Just kidding. But she's like, oh, I'm a model. I signed with this modeling agency, blah, blah, blah. And then me and my buddy Chris got very jealous. And we're like, well, we work out all the time to try to impress girls. So like, we should be models too. And then we applied and we actually got accepted because guess what? They want to like take your money and put you on their website. And then if you work, you work. And I just kind of stuck with it. And that's the weird part. I think I started when I was 19. I've been doing it for almost 10 years.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. And then acting just kind of came through that. I got one of my modeling agencies, More Creative Talent, has an acting division. They sent me an audition for this movie. And I booked it. And it was pretty surreal. I played Jared in a movie called Merry Kiss Cam. It will be out probably this up and coming winter, December, January, February. If it's really good, it'll be on Disney Plus. If it's not so good, it'll be on Hulu.
Oh, dang, man.
You didn't hear that from me.
Okay.
That's probably how it'll happen. It'll be a good movie, so it'll be on Disney Plus. And even if it's a good movie, it could still be on Hulu. Who knows? But no, I'll tell you, Matt, acting is so fun. It's something that totally captured my heart. It's something I can't leave behind. Something I have to do. In fact, that's the thing. I think I'll probably be in California within a year, I would say.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know how much longer I'll be doing sports reporting for, if I'm being honest. Doing this movie, and I shot a TV pilot that this local production company got funding for as well, that I was the lead in. Very lucky to be the lead in that. Man, I caught this acting bug and it's taken over. But now I'm getting all these really cool opportunities in sports. So it's like with girls, I can't find a girl to save my life. And then all of a sudden I get like 5. And work has always been the same. I can't get a job or an audition to save my life. And then you get one, and then it just blows up. It's amazing.
We're hopefully we see on the big screen. You never know. But don't forget MinneZona Sports Live. If you
never will.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing is last night I just saw Nope, the new Jordan Peele movie.
Sure.
And like I have to do that. Like it's just I've realized it. Like, okay, acting is I have to do it. Like I have to. I feel it's I spent 2 weeks in Duluth doing that Mary Kiss Cam movie. and it just, the whole world disappeared. The only thing I was thinking about was the scenes that day and my role and the friends and the people. Like Katie Lowe's from Scandals in it, Jesse Bradford from Bring It On,
Yeah.
the heartthrob and Bring It On. Like, what? All of a sudden acting across from him, like, it was insane. And so, like, it's one of those moments in your life where it becomes very simple, where it's like, this is what I should do. This is where I'm my happiest. This is where I'm my best. I'm with the best people. And so I'm going to be on the big screen. I am going to be. It might take me till I'm 62, but I will do it eventually. I hope so.
Oh, stamp of approval, as we say here on MinneZona Sports Live. So we're happy for you. One last thing, then we're going to bring it over to rapid fire with Shield. Meeting Shaquille O'Neal. How did that come up? Did that come through your, modeling, acting, and all that? How'd that work out?
Yeah, so I do a fair amount of modeling for a live shopping network called Shop HQ. So if you know like QVC, it's very similar. I think QVC is like number 1, Shop HQ is like number 3. So it's
I know a gal works for Shop HQ.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, no, a bunch of production people are there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I've done sunglasses shows there for years. And so one day I just show up and I'll tell you, the place looks great, which Shop HQ always does, but like they had treats out by security, like it smelled good. And I walked in with my model friend Grace and we're like, something's up, like something's going on. There was an investor party and Shaq sells grills on this network. These Shaq grills, a plug-in Shaq, the Shaq grill. And so he's apparently on site and I walk by his dressing room and there he is. Like I hear him and then I see him and like, I can't stop. Cause you want to, but you can't. So it's like, I got to keep walking. Yeah. But I'm like, holy crap, that was Shaq. And then you get into this. So you show up an hour early to get ready, which like for girls, they'll get ready. For me, I'm like, this is what you're getting. Sorry. And then you go to the show. And so my friend Grace was doing a bunch of good stuff. I hadn't been out yet. And about minute 25 of the show, everyone on their IFBs, everyone on headset, they just kind of start looking around. And they're like, checks, come check. We're like, what? So that she hands me the shade. She's like, go out there. Like, you got to go. So I go out there, I'm modeling. And then, I see, so like, I'm like that, like, so I'm live, like the camera's pointed at me. I'm on the camera and I have these aviators on, so you can't see my eye, but I see Shaquille O'Neal walk into the studio and I'm like, oh my God. And he looks out and he walks right into, he's walking 7.4 diesel, just walking right at me. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. It's kind of like that. I don't know what to do with my hands. Like I'm like, crazy. And I'll never forget this the rest of my life. He walks up to me, stands next to me, just goes, stay here. We cool. And I'm like, okay, I'll stay here. We're cool. And and then like they went to a tight shot of me and I'm like, what are you guys doing? Like Shaq is right there. Yeah. So super nice guy, took pictures like with everyone afterwards. Again, it was like I didn't really meet him. It was kind of just like this brief encounter. Yeah. But like just really genuine. And like you could see like it just lives inside of him, that energy, that charisma, that personality, that showmanship. Like he didn't know that he was probably going to do this. He just shows up and he's just a star immediately. So there's just a special quality to someone like that you can recognize and be like, oh, now I get it. Like, I get why you're Shaquille O'Neal. Like, this makes I didn't think I was up to his bicep. Like, it's like, dude, like, he's just, I'll tell you, Alex Rodriguez, secretly big. We had him on the little plus show. Sure. Marnie talked to him. Dude just yoked. Huge. I bet. Big biceps, Alex Rodriguez. Pounds.
Enhanced.
Oops. Well,
careful.
Neither here nor there. Neither here nor there.
I'm not touching that, but that's okay.
Careful now. Oh, it's too good. All right, Shield, rapid fire. Go ahead.
All right, so I got a few rapid fire questions, some sports related, some non-sports related. I hope you're cool and game with that. All right.
I'm ready, baby. Let's go.
All right, let's go. We'll start off a couple sports ones. You didn't talk about the Timberwolves making it to the Western Conference Finals. What seed will they be here this upcoming season?
They will be the 3 seed.
3 seed. Okay. Okay. Who's 1 and 2 then?
One, I think Golden State will probably stick number one. And I think if Denver gets healthy, I think Denver's a very sneaky team that could get to number two. But I think we got Memphis. I think we got Dallas. And the Clippers, I think, will get hurt. If the Clippers stay healthy, I think they probably slide into that 2-3, and then maybe we go 4. But I will stick to 3 because we're a young team, and I think we'll stay healthy, and I think we can maintain injuries even if we do.
I like that. I like that. Denver as a sneaky 2 seed. I like that. That's a good one right there. As you probably don't know, I'm a uniform guy. I'm a jersey. I got 100 of them in my closet right now. Favorite Timberwolves uniform that you've seen from over the years?
I mean, it's the black with the pine trees. I mean, I don't think there's really a debate, right? Like that's like the KG-21, like black with like the green, like pines across the neck and arms. Like it's one of the best jerseys ever, in my opinion. The Princes were pretty cool too. The jersey Derrick Rose scored 50 in was also pretty incredible, but I'll go with the OG blacks.
I like that. I like that. Yeah, a lot of the Timberwolves from the Timberwolves of like blue jerseys from like the K-Love days. Those get a lot of hate. Nowadays.
They do.
As they should. They should. Those are pretty gross.
There've been a lot of misses.
I'm with those people.
Yeah, there's been a lot of misses than hits as of late in the uniforms for the Timberwolves. Biggest pet peeve when you're covering a sporting event, what is it?
Oh man. Biggest pet peeve when again, first of all, I try to come into every interaction with love and empathy. So again, it's a high stress environment. People are just trying to do their jobs. I think overzealous security guards can get pretty frustrating sometimes. And I would also just say in general, Wi-Fi.
Oh yes.
Never
Oh
it always goes out and it's always a humongous nightmare. But I think, so just anyone that is abusing power is always a trigger for me. And you get some of those people at sporting events. So it could be a security guard, could be management, whatever. Just be chill, man. Just relax. Okay. Come on now.
Another one, maybe kind of going along with what we're talking about with pet peeves or whatever. What's kind of an unknown factor? Maybe some people that don't know about working with Bally Sports North that, maybe setup wise or doing like a show or something. Maybe there's something that people don't realize. You just sit there and you talk about what happened. What's kind of an unknown thing that people don't really know about?
I think just how many people go into making that type of production possible. I mean, in a truck, so you have your broadcasters, right? But then you have a producer, you have a director, you have a graphics guy. You usually during baseball, you have a graphics assistant because there's just so many stats in baseball. You have 4 replay operators. You have 2 that are kind of focusing on what's happening right now, getting quick replays. You have 2 that are doing more like they're building packs and like rolling. So like say Byron Buxton leads off the game with the home run.
Sure.
One replay guy is building a 15-second highlight reel of that play. So then next time he gets up to bat, they can show it. They can kind of tease him up with it. So, and then again, there's people sitting with the broadcasters that are handing them sets. There's a stat assistant. There's someone there that handles them promotional cards. So it's just for a 7:00 game. Most people start working at 9:30 a.m. and they're working till 11:30 p.m. So it's good money sometimes depending on your role. It's a really cool job, but I think people don't understand the sacrifice that a lot of people in sports work, because when you do work, you're working a 13-hour day or a 6-hour day. But even then, that's still tough on a fan. You only get half the day with your family. So it's a very glorious job in some respects, but there's a lot of time away from things too in others, for sure.
Yeah, that's one thing that I deal with right now in covering. But you don't realize how much goes into it too. But I got two more questions. One that I just thought of a couple minutes ago. This one talking about, of course, you've interviewed a lot of athletes and obviously people along that line, but there's one moment during an interview that maybe made you kind of, while you're actively listening, you think in the back of your mind, like, holy cow, I'm talking to so-and-so. Who was that interview, if there ever came to your mind?
Oh man. Okay. I 3M Open, 3 years ago, the year Matthew Wolf won. I'm there with I'm hustling. Okay. Bally, I love Bally. They wouldn't give me a camera guy. So I call my dad. I'm like, hey dad, can you come and like help me shoot some stuff? Cause I like, you can, and you guys know if you're a weekend, you can do your own camera stuff, but it helps if you have someone else doing it. It just gives you more ability. So I'm getting some coverage, and then my dad's like, hey, I think Phil just finished. And we're like, really? He's like, yeah, think we could get some sound? We're like, sure. So we go back to the media tent, and sure, Phil Mickelson is walking out to media. So we go out there, and I've never been more nervous in my entire life. I asked him a question about 18. I didn't know he doubled it. He went in the water. Because I asked him about how difficult the hole was, and he's like, well, yeah, I doubled it. Because I was kind of asking about like the decision to go for it in 2 or do you lay up. He went for it and it didn't work. But that was one where I'm like, I cannot believe Phil Mickelson is looking me in the eye and answering a question I asked. Like, this is the dumbest thing ever. But that was one, Paul, where I was like, this is wow. I'm blown away. That was cool.
Yeah, old lefty doesn't disappoint. Well, nowadays that's a different story, I guess. But
anyway, usually when we end, interviews and things like that, I kind of do this thing. It's pretty common, but we have merch, Zaps. It's pretty sweet merch. We got shirts that are pretty sweet. 5 out of 5 stars, by the way. Breathable, all that stuff and whatnot. If you want a shirt, we have hats too. $20, $5 shipping, all that fun stuff, and stickers as well. So if you are interested, we'll hook you up, my friend.
I'm gonna have to visit the site. Yeah, I'll have to get me some. I gotta start rapping. I'm a company man now. I love it.
You know it, man. We'll get you hooked up. You let us know what you want.
Please.
Yeah, definitely.
I could use a breathable tee. Who doesn't need a breathable tee? Kidding me?
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying, man. That's what I'm saying. So, but Alex, thank you so much for coming on the show. We really appreciate it. And we'll probably have you on again once the Wolves season starts up. Hey, all bets are off, my friend. So what do you say?
You guys say the word and I'll be back. I'm a zoner for life. I love it.
There we go.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
We love hearing that. So that's awesome, man. So, but anyway, Zaps, we'll talk to you later, my friend. All right, we are back. Oh, it was great. I mean, we had a great time with Alex, and
absolutely
so knowledgeable, and it's just a great time talking Wolves, especially with the Wolves. I mean, Rattel, Munson, and Alex. I mean, shoot, we got Wolves on Wolves now. We need to add more to our arsenal.
Apparently,
but yeah, we will have the full interview posted on our YouTube page as well. So we'll have that for you guys coming up here, and you can watch this anytime, whenever you want. So we've got a lot going on with that, and we appreciate you guys tuning in and listening too. So Alex, he'll be back on, but he's up there, best guest. Now remember, we got to get more people now, so it's and we got to bring some returning people too. So make sure we got to make it fair. But Alex, I think, is going to be on again at some point. So anyway, let's get it rolling. This is kind of weird. We usually do Tater Hot Take at the beginning, but we're starting it a little bit later, and we only got one tonight because of this awesome interview with Alex. So all right, Voldy, let's get it going with some Tater Tot. Hot take.
Fresh out of the oven, it's Tater Tot Hot Take.
All right, it's time for some Tater Tot hot take. And we start off with our Minnesota Twins. And it's been a long time coming. It's been a long time coming. But the Twins finally listened to me. And this trade deadline was key. They are leaders in the AL Central. And by my estimates, it's by 1 game right now. The Guardians are creeping up. The White Sox are creeping up here too. But the Minnesota Twins finally trade for pitching. Yes! Claps out to the Minnesota Twins for finally also getting an all-star with that. And Jorge Lopez from the Baltimore Orioles. That was the first big one. And many said the Twins are not done. So then the Twins went out. They traded some, minor league pitchers to the Orioles and things like that. And then they go to the Cincinnati Reds and they say, give us Tyler Mahle. And boom, there we go. Another pitcher in the arsenal. Bunch of minor league pitchers. And, will that prove to be not a great idea? We'll see. But then we got a bullpen guy. We get a guy from the Detroit Tigers. Again, the Tigers are a train wreck. We beat them today. Get to that in a second. Add a bullpen arm, Michael Fulmer. So the Twins are sitting pretty good. A lot of trades. They knew if they want to win this division, because they can win. I feel like they will win the AL Central because of making these moves. If they didn't make these moves, I think they would crash and burn. That's just my opinion. So, but Zoners, I ask you this, and Voldy, I ask you this as well. Does this solidify the Twins winning the AL Central with these moves? What do you think?
I think absolutely. I think this is what the Twins needed, because if you look at how the Twins have been let down in a lot of close games this year, it's been late innings and it's been poor starts on the mound as well. So you get a relatively young guy in Tyler Mahle from the likes of Cincinnati. Then you get, a former all-star closer in Jorge Lopez and Michael Fulmer. Given the fact that he was with Detroit, we're not going to hold that against him. But still, pretty decent setup guy as well. So you got an 8th and 9th inning reliever guy to go along with, Johan Duran as well in that mix. But that's also going to really extend a lot of these other guys like Griffin Jacks as well in that back end of the bullpen to maybe move him up earlier so that way he doesn't have to feel the need to, go into late situations as well. But if the need should arise, he's also there as in that case too to help out in those late inning situations. And I also really like the fact that the Twins went out and got these guys but didn't blow the entire, savings, didn't blow the bank on these guys.
Yeah.
If there's anything, the Twins have nothing but prospects to go with them as well. Didn't lose anybody significant. If anybody that was lost, it was Yanier Cano, but he was, a sparse, relief appearance here and there, up and down with the Saints and the Twins too. So nobody on the major league roster that left away from the Twins. So a lot of prospects. Mm-hmm. There's still a few guys that are up and down as of right now. Injuries is the name of the game right now, but the Twins seem to have gotten guys that can really start to fill things out here and, make a serious push with what I think about like 60-some games left in the regular season.
Give or take,
Yeah.
You had no choice. You have no choice at this point.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that this had to be forced, on the Twins, to do something, it says a lot. If they had a big lead, maybe a big lead in the Central, I still think they would make these moves and things like that. But I'll say this: if they didn't make these moves, they'd be in deep, what, okay? Mm-hmm. And it's nice to see that they're making the necessary moves at this point, because we get that there's injuries. And they've lost games where we've had leads, and our bullpen or our starting pitching has blown it. Absolutely, just been terrible, and our closers. So we needed a solid closer. We got that with Lopez, and I think it started early this afternoon. When when they got the win against the Tigers, he went in there and he pretty much shut the door. There you go. That's what we need. We need that type of closer. The bullpen pitched great today. So that's a positive. Now, we got to remember that there's teams nipping at the Guardians are nipping at the heels. The White Sox now are nipping at your heels. They're only 2 games back. Guardians 1 game back. And they got to widen the gap here. and especially the head-to-heads and things like that. And the pitching that they got needs to come through. And I think so far they have, but it needs to be continuous. So
Right.
It's going to be interesting to see how these guys do this next half of the season. And you have some quality stuff. I mean, Ryan has been pretty much your best pitcher right now. And after him, you have a solid Sonny Gray who's pretty good. But after that, things get a little iffy with Archer. You don't know what you're getting, and after that, Duffy. I still think the Duffy thing is just ridiculous to me. But it is what it is. It is what it is. But I'll answer the question by saying, yeah, I think they are going to win the Central by making these moves. And if they do not win the Central, this is an abject failure. And I firmly believe that. And I'm not going to blame that. I'm not going to blame the Twins necessarily for making those moves. What I'm going to blame on this is the lack of, going out and getting high-profile guys. And they did. They went out and got high-profile guys that are good right now. Let's just follow through on it. Let's get the right, coaching. Even after this year, I mean, there's a lot of solid teams. I mean, I'm looking at the Yankees right now, and oh my God, I mean, the fact that they're already at 70 wins is blowing my mind, and it leaves a bad taste in your mouth because who knows, the Twins might end up playing them, and that's that we don't want that. Toronto's probably going to take one of the wild card spots and things like that. So there's a lot moving. Astros, Mariners are in the wild card hunt. So there's a lot happening. So hopefully they can put things together, and we'll see how it all plays out here. So stamp of approval if we're doing ARA. So I think that's the perfect segue to start doing Absurd or Approved. So. Hopefully Twins get it done. We're keeping our fingers crossed. All right, let's get it going with some Absurd or Approved.
It's time for everyone's favorite segment, Absurd or Approved.
All right, it's time for Absurd or Approved. So, Voldy, why don't you rattle them off for us, please?
Well, our first story has been having extra developments as of late for today, but it was announced that on, Monday, that Cleveland Browns' soon-to-be quarterback, maybe not soon-to-be quarterback, Deshaun Watson has been served a 6-game suspension without pay, but will not be fined for violating the league's personal conduct policy following the accusations of sexual misconduct by disciplinary officer Sue L. Robinson, as she ruled on Monday. Now, this was handed down on Monday, but as of actually today, earlier this morning, I believe it was the NFL that they are going to be appealing to make it an even longer suspension. And quite possibly indefinite, let alone a year, with the ruling coming down for a 6-game suspension. Is it absurd or approved that is a 6-game suspension or possibly the likelihood of an indefinite suspension enough compared to other / past suspensions that have taken place in recent years in the NFL?
Well, a lot of media has talked about this, and I'm under the firm belief too. There's some people that think that's more than enough. There's some people that think that's way too short. Not enough, especially with no fine for one.
Right.
But I respect that. That the judge went through the process and everything like that. But Deshaun should be suspended for the whole year.
Mm-hmm.
You could say indefinitely and all that stuff, but I think this deserves longer. And I understand that you can have the people are saying, well, he didn't force upon violence, and that's what the judge put in her statement and whatnot. But it's still sexual assault, and people don't understand that what he was trying to do, he was trying to have sex with these massage therapists, and the fact that he went to so many of them tells me that there's something. I mean, like we said before, I mean, he's a predator, and they have to understand. People have to understand that this isn't something where you can look at the situation and say, well, he didn't hurt anybody, things like that. It doesn't matter. The guy was trying to, he broke the rule, especially if you're getting a massage and whatnot, and you take off you're not supposed to take off the robe and expose yourself and things like that. I won't get into the full details or anything, but what he did, and I suggest this SI article that I read too, you can look it up on SI.com, of one of the women that was massaging Deshaun Watson and fully explains what he was doing. And actually it was pretty sickening for one. So the suspension needs to be a year. It has to. And I think the NFL is right in the fact that they said that they're appealing this. We were talking before the show, Voldy. I thought that they didn't want to deal with how long the process was going to take, and
right.
It just did. I mean, they decided no, this is how it's going to go. We think he should have been suspended for longer and fine or whatever, things like that. But they're willing to take it to court. And, Deshaun Watson thinks Deshaun and his team thinks that there was nothing wrong, and they're going to appeal, they're going to, try to bring it in court, and it's going to get messy. But the fact is he is going to be, he's not playing the first game of the season. Let's throw that out the window right now at all. And he's not going to have it from 6 to, I think he might, they're going to agree on a year suspension, but this is going to get messy. And we'll see what happens. But, no, I think it's absurd that it's a 6-game suspension. He should be suspended for the year. That's my opinion. Voldy, what do you got?
Yeah, because if Calvin Ridley from Atlanta, I think it's Calvin Ridley from Atlanta, gets suspended a whole season for betting on football, then why isn't Deshaun Watson, well, first off, behind prison bars to begin with, let alone serving a suspension from the NFL? Like, yes, I understand that they settled all the legal matters that goes along with it, but, like, if this is the court of public opinion, instead of judge, jury, and executioner, Deshaun Watson's rear end is fried out the door, because that's how quick it went from 0 to alleged to, he did it, and it's not looking good for anybody in this situation. 6 games, definitely not enough.
Nope.
At least a year is definitely where it needs to be. Like, I don't know how you come back from this.
Right.
With something as crazy as this has been, I just don't see how this goes to anybody's favor. I know that the NFL is trying to save face a little bit and asking for a bigger suspension, a longer suspension. Probably going to be one of the biggest W's for old Roger Goodell to try to get himself back into the favor of the public opinion as well, because automatically you have to hate Roger Goodell because he's the commissioner of the NFL.
Yeah.
That's just how it usually works. But him trying to go after this longer suspension is definitely something that will put him into a lot of better light. But 6 games is definitely not enough. There is more to this matter that needs to be dealt with. Look, it was a nice number to throw out for 6 games. Could have been long. It could have been a lot more. Could have been less as well. We'll just have to see how the appeal process works out. Because honestly, in a lot of situations too, I don't know how the appeal process has worked in recent years compared to one person's favor. Like when Tom Brady got suspended, he had to serve the 4 games. He served the 4 games, even going through the appeal process too. And well, it worked out well to the Patriots' favor with that matter. I mean, shout out to the GOAT on his birthday once again, but. Yeah, 6-game suspension, not nearly enough. It's definitely it's completely absurd.
Yep, and I want to end it with this too, with this situation. Like you mentioned with Calvin Ridley, I think he was betting on his own team too, and now that he's suspended for the year. So why is this? Why is somebody who engaged in sexual, assault and things like that, only getting 6 games.
Right.
I mean, the comparison makes no sense, and what it comes down to is that, him saying that he, never did anything wrong. Yeah, you did. You settling means that you basically are admitting what you did. I think, in my opinion. So, we'll see how this process comes out. I think if I'm Cleveland right now, I'm sticking with Jacoby Brissett. So, Stefanski's going to have him. I do not think Deshaun Watson will play a down this year. So, I don't know.
$230 million right down the drain.
Yeah. And if you want to make them pay, this is how you make them pay. And I'm happy that the NFL is doing it. So,
watch out, Jacoby Brissett, baby.
Yeah.
Watch out for Jacoby.
Clipboard holder, former clipboard.
Yes, sir.
Tom Brady. So we'll get to that in a little bit too. So, all right, next one, Voldy.
So we go to the world of Major League Baseball. Of course, yesterday the trade deadline, as we talked about with the Twins. But talk about one team that is just going for it. They're putting their whole foot, ankle, calf, shin, knee. They're going all the way up to the hip. They're putting it all in there. With the San Diego Padres, they go out and they get a guy. They went and got Juan Soto at the trade deadline. Not to mention they went out and got Josh Bell from the Washington Nationals and traded away some guys that have contributed for them, this year and in seasons past. In the trade to Washington specifically, they give up Mackenzie Gore, Robert Hassel III, even C.J. Abrams, James Wood, and even first base DH Luke Voigt as well. And they also went on Tuesday and getting a guy from the likes of the Cincinnati Reds in Brandon Drury, who is a very good utility guy, third baseman primarily in his career. Not to mention that they got rid of Eric Hosmer. They got the likes of Josh Hader, the closer from Milwaukee, to help bolster that back into the bullpen. While that means that Taylor Rogers no longer in the fold for San Diego as well. So that's too bad for him. But this just adds to an even deeper all-star lineup that they got as well. Because not to mention that they've had the success that they've had this season, all without their best player in Fernando Tatis Jr. Or I should say one of their at least top 2 best players in Fernando Tatis Jr., who's been hurt since the start of the season. Manny Machado's there as well, bolstering a full lineup and a cast of characters as well. This is just saying that they're in it. They are looking to make something happen. Is it absurd or approved? With the trades that they made at the deadline and getting Juan Soto and a couple of guys to fill out the bench, is San Diego going to be representing the National League in the World Series this fall?
Yes. Book it. I believe so, because I think not only, I get the Soto trade and whatnot, because that needed to happen, especially because of what transpired with the Washington Nationals, and he's going to make that difference. And the fact that you have Tatis, the fact that you have Machado, the fact that you have the right pieces in place to make that push. Some people thought that the Dodgers were gonna try and get Soto and whatnot, but that didn't work out. But you have to look at San Diego right now and think, they're, pardon the pun, swinging for the fences here. And I get that, but this guy is going to be legit for them. I mean, his on-base percentage is from 2018 to 2022 is insane. Well, Ted Williams was definitely better, Hall of Famer. Right. But, Juan Soto is not too far behind with 427 average with that. So I think they definitely will, because San Diego's hungry for a World Series, and I think that they'll probably get it. Their pitching, you mentioned Hader. I think that was surprising though, because Milwaukee was saying they weren't going to get, and all of a sudden Milwaukee gives them up.
It would have been too much more expensive. Yeah, too expensive to re-sign them. Yeah.
And then the Eric Hosmer thing, apparently he didn't want to go to Washington, and then he's given to your Boston Red Sox. So,
yeah, that was a weird one.
That is a weird one. But, yeah, I like this, especially Tatis and Soto being so close. They played with one another in the Dominican Republic. So, yeah, it's got my stamp of approval. I got the San Diego Padres going to the World Series to take on someone from the AL, and it's probably not the Twins. Maybe the Yankees. I hate to say it, but it's true.
Yeah.
I hate to say it.
Too.
So, Voldy, what do you think?
Yeah, it's hard to pick not against San Diego with the moves that they made, but, there's some guys in front of them, one of them being in their same division in the L.A. Dodgers. Dodgers went out and got Joey Gallo from the Yankees as well. They've got a pretty deep lineup and a deep team, too. Of course, Clayton Kershaw still there. Walker Buehler still in the lineup as well in that rotation. Certainly a few guys to keep a few eye on with that. And there was one other team I was thinking of, too. Oh, yeah. Can't forget the Atlanta Braves.
Oh, sure.
Sneakily a team that we're not even talking about. I would honestly say if it's not going to be San Diego, I want to see the defending champs go at it once again with the Atlanta Braves. Because, sneakily under the wire, they made a couple of moves as well, bolstered their team as well. They got Jake Odorizzi. They went and got Robbie Grossman to fill out some depth in the lineup, Harry Adrianza. So you got 3 former Twins. I literally just realized Robbie Grossman, Adrianza, and Jake Odorizzi.
What about Eddie?
Yeah, Eddie Rosario.
Oh, my
too,
God.
on the squad, too. But just at the trade deadline, 3 former Twins going to the defending champs because why not? Because that is just how life goes. But let's talk about the fact that Washington went from hero to zero in less than 3 seasons.
It's
2019, out of nowhere, they win the World Series, and they just literally dumpster fire sale, and into a crap tornado of a franchise once again in less than 3 seasons. Bryce Harper leaves. That's where you start to see the down swirl of things. Max Scherzer ends up leaving. Trey Turner, Anthony Rendon as well. And now you lose Juan Soto. Not a lot of positivity coming through with that team right now. And in a franchise that has literally been literally nothing up until 2019. Had a couple of spurts here and there, but look, if it's not going to be San Diego, I think it's going to be Atlanta. So if that ends up being the National League Championship Series, I will not be mad about that.
No. Well, the fact that you brought up all those Twins just makes me just,
yeah,
makes my
I hate
blood
to
boil.
put that into people's minds there.
But I mean, what can you, Minnesota sports curse? We've talked about it on this show. So, but yeah, I think they'll represent the NL. So we'll see. All right, next one, Voldy.
Well, this one a little bit sad just because of what they've done the last couple seasons. It was announced earlier this week that Adidas will not be returning as the NHL's official supplier of uniforms and apparel with their agreement that is set to expire after the 2023-24 season. So not this upcoming season.
Okay.
It's the season after. So we still got 2 full seasons with Adidas pumping out the merch. As sources told that Adidas, which has 2 years remaining on its 7-year deal. So we're already 5 years in. It feels like it's been like 2 or 3 in certain circles. But they're not renewing their deal with the NHL. The league has started to make other apparel companies aware that they are right back into play as well. Of course, they replaced Adidas replaced Reebok for all the years that Reebok made the uniforms for the NHL. It could be very interesting to see if maybe Nike gets into the fix as well and just takes over all of the professional sports in the Big Four, that being in the U.S. as well. So, unfortunately, of course, this really all coming into effect with, we look over the last few years, the 2016 World Cup. That was the first year of the deal, the first year with, the Team North America, the reverse retro jerseys, streetwear influenced NHL sweaters as well that went along with this season, this last season as well. So is it absurd or approved with for NHL merch sakes, uniforms will suffer with the Adidas deal coming to an end? Not after this season, but the season
after that. Okay.
2 more years.
Not surprising, because I thought that they have done a good job with the jersey. I mean, let's take a look back here. What I got with our guy Kaprizov, and it's I think they've done a great job. I mean, are they out? Is Adidas out of the question? Do we know that much, or is it just maybe they just don't?
I think it's one of those that Adidas wants more money. I think.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's true too. So if they can't work out a deal with Adidas, I think Nike would definitely do something with that.
Hope so.
One would hope. Yeah, exactly. One would hope. I can't see Under Armour do it. I don't know why. I just don't think that would be plausible.
I'd say Under Armour is trash.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that it would be Under Armour. I can't see that happening. More like,
right.
But I think the next thing would be Nike, and I think that's the smart route to go because they definitely know how to make really good jerseys. But I think that I'll say this. It'll only hurt if they don't, if they don't have variations of certain hockey jerseys,
right.
And if they can't, if they can't have any, new variations or this or that. I mean, the one with the North Stars thing, I mean, is something that we've been clamoring for a long time, and look, there it is. So, if it's not Adidas, I'm going to say Nike, and if maybe they have to fork up the money and give it to Adidas because I think Adidas has done a good job with the NHL. I've been impressed. I've been very impressed. But that all depends. That all depends on what the hockey community says too. So that's why I'm asking you and and whatnot. So I don't think they will. I think it's absurd. I don't think they will suffer. If they do, I think they're going to bounce back. If it's with Nike, if it's with Under Armour, I don't like that. So, Voldy, what do you think?
Yeah, it's unfortunate because in the short amount of time, a lot of teams have kind of changed up their looks with that new deal in the last 5 seasons that have taken place. Like the Wild were one of them that changed up their looks. Just to name a couple, the reverse retros have been awesome, and I just wish that teams would wear them more because they're so cool to begin with, like the Wilds ones, the Boston Bruins. I mean, just the ones I'm thinking of, the LA Kings and the purple and gold, even like Dallas with their old Stars logo too. I mean, there's just so many great ones that have been, and that was 2 years ago, I think, when they brought in the reverse retros, and it feels like yesterday still. But yeah, the fact that they've been around for 7 years, but it only feels like 2 or 3, it's unfortunate. The NHL is also in a long-term deal with Fanatics right now.
Oh, yep.
They've been a partner with since 2005, and they've been, kind of manufacturing some broad apparel and headwear. Fanatics does do work with Nike New Era as well. I'd be fine if they went New Era just because the hats fit a lot better if they're New Era. I got a couple of New Era hockey hats in my collection right now. Those are the only hockey hats that I wear on a regular basis. The Adidas ones don't fit. Look, I'll come out and say it. I've become more of an Adidas guy and a brand snob the last couple of years with Adidas being my preferred brand of choice for multiple reasons, including which, of course, friends of the program, the Granite City Lumberjacks. They're an Adidas team, so that's gonna be interesting to see if maybe they go fully away from the hockey world in Adidas, or if they're just getting away from the NHL, because they've kind of put their foot into the game as well as of late. So, it's too bad. I just hope whoever comes in next brings that same energy with the different styles of uniforms, and maybe looking at meshing the old with new, or maybe even looking at bringing some new ideas to some of these franchises that could, use a little bit of a facelift in some of them too. If, as long as we can get some more New York Islanders, Gorton's Fisherman uniforms and stuff like that, and if we could get more the mashups between sports franchises, like when the Wild had those Twins practice jerseys for when Joe Mauer retired. Like the Dallas Stars had Texas Rangers night. The Blues and the Cardinals always have a really good relationship too. If we get more of that, if I could see Adam Thielen show up to a game in a Wild jersey, but it's a Vikings one, something like that, perfect. Let's get those in the actual game. I'm just saying the practice jerseys are sweet, and like all the special ones that they have, like the Wild had Indigenous Peoples Night or something like that, where they had the Wild name in I think it might have been Ojibwe or something like that. Get those in the game. Those are awesome. That's a great way to connect the community, the people, and boy, easy merch sale. I would have bought at least 5 or 6 of those jerseys if they would have been readily accessible as opposed to the auctions that they do, because those do not go very easily or very cheap when you start throwing those out. But, for the merch side, I think it'll hurt a little bit just because people have kind of been a little bit connected. Like you've got the, Kirill the Thrill, the reverse retro. I know a lot of people have got those and some of the other ones too. It'll be a sad day when that deal does come to an end. So I think Adidas is on its way out.
Oh, all right. Well, there you go. But if they do what you're saying with those customized jersey, you'll get one, but as long as it doesn't say Kessel on the back, right?
Yeah. And let's just hope he does not sign with the team anytime soon.
There you go. All right, last one, Voldy.
Yeah, it was notified, the Miami Dolphins, #FinsDown, that the NFL notified those Fins yesterday that the team would be stripped of its 2023 first-round draft pick, among other disciplinary measures, for violations of the league's policies relating to the integrity of the game, quote-unquote, tampering. Now, following a 6-month investigation, this article I'm quoting from ESPN, the league found the Dolphins, primarily team owner Stephen Ross and vice chairman limited partner Bruce Beal, violated the anti-tampering policy on 3 occasions, 2019 to 2022, in conversations with quarterback Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr. and agent for the then New Orleans Saints coach Sean Payton. So basically, it was looking at the potentiality of bringing in Brady, bringing in Payton into the fold with the Miami Dolphins, whether as in a capacity of ownership or actually possibly getting them on the team and actually contributing as well. Now, it's also known, of course, this also following the investigation earlier this year, that former head coach Brian Flores said that alleging racism and hiring practices, as well as the incentive to tank the team so they can get better draft picks and all these other matters as well. Following the investigations that have happened the last 3 years with the Miami Dolphins, should the Dolphins have been punished more or less than what the NFL did decide?
Oh, gosh. Well, Stephen Ross has not had a good has not had a good reputation in the NFL per se. And what's funny to me, and I'm not, it's the agent, I get it. Apparently with Sean Payton, it's funny how he's involved in some of these dealings, and have him paired with Tom Brady, I get that type of thing. But it's interesting to me. Interesting to me why Sean Payton is involved in this too. Interesting. Anyway, we won't get into that. But I think it was maybe a little too little. You took away first-round draft picks, fine. But one thing I do like about it is the fine. $1.5 million. Against Ross there. And I think that it's got my stamp of approval on that. And it makes sense. And, it looks like Beal was fined $500,000. So there's that too. But I think it should have been more. I think they should have taken a little bit more draft picks as well. It kind of sucks for, McDaniel, being the coach, because it's like, well, shoot, now we don't have, But granted, Tyreek Hill, Tua, there's a lot of upside with the team. But when you take away first-round picks, that's a lot. But a 2024 third-rounder, where'd you come up with that? We're going to take a third-rounder from you. Granted, all picks, you never know with whatever pick that was. I think it should have been more with the picks. I like the fines. I really do. But here's my next question. If you're fining Ross for tampering and things like that, where the hell is this with Dan Snyder?
Right.
What's the holdup with that? I don't want it to be about that, but I mean, there's that as well. So if they're going to find the owner, start looking at the guy in Washington is going to be my next thing. But I guess to answer the question, absurd or approved, should the Dolphins have punished, more or less? I'd say, yeah, more. It should have been more. It's got my stamp of approval. And it's like, well, less, no. I think they needed a little bit more, especially, trying to, work out something with Brady and Payton and all that stuff. But I don't know. That's just the Dolphins, I guess.
Right.
All right, Voldy, what do you think?
I just am surprised the fact that hopefully this is going to be a stepping stone for what good old Dan Snyder is going to get coming to him here, hopefully in the very near future, because if they're taking away draft picks and money as well, man, they might as well give the death penalty to Dan Snyder, not the literal death penalty like him in the gas chamber, but like, blacklisted and kicked out of the NFL, basically, which would be quite a feat within itself to happen, too, because I think in that situation, every owner's got, basically one finger pointing at the other one, and they're all got their weapons pointed at each other. Somebody flinches, and then
Office
everybody starts
Spider-Man thing,
Yeah, exactly, like that. But, the punishment, obviously did fit the crime as well. I don't know how they were ever going to think that they would have been able to get Sean Payton and Tom Brady to come into the ownership and or whether actually as coach and or quarterback for when Tom Brady, was a free agent at the time. I just don't understand how you go through all this and expect nobody to find out in the first place, because eventually somebody's going to say something. And the fact that it already took 3 years of investigation to finally come to light, and losing a first-round pick, $1.5 million as well from for Stephen Ross, too, in the ownership sense. I don't think that's going to hurt him overall. Obviously, he's an NFL owner. He's got plenty of money. But I think you're going to hurt yourself a little bit in the draft picks, unless you're the Los Angeles Rams, because as one GM once said, forget those picks, but a little bit more colorful with the language, too. But is it absurd or approved? Should the punishment have been more? Absolutely, because it's the Dolphins. They're the lovable losers of the AFC East, and you know what? We'll see how that turns out. But is it absurd or approved? I think it's approved. I think it was the right amount. Would have liked to seen a little bit more fins down.
But yeah, I think if you're gonna do that to an owner, you unleash hell on Dan Snyder, and you have to at this point. I mean, with this Deshaun thing, with that going on, there's a lot that they need to do right now. So, and a lot of eyes looking at them too. So, anyway, great job with ARA this week, Voldy, and we got some Shield shoutouts, some good, some very, some sad and whatnot, since it's been kind of a weird week. I'll say that. Start of the week and last week as well. But anywho, it's time for some Shield shoutouts.
Shield shoutouts.
All right, Shield, who ya shouting out tonight?
Well, we do have to wish a Shield shout-out. Of course, we've mentioned it a few times here on the show. To the greatest of all time, the GOAT, Tom Brady. Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr. Put some respect on the man's name. 7-time Super Bowl champion. 4-time Super Bowl MVP as well. Greatest of all time. Leader of the Tom Brady Clipboard Holders Association. They're the very one, the very own Tom Brady. Happy birthday. 45 years young today for Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr. Unfortunately, a few legends in the world of sports passed away recently, including 11-time NBA champion. That's right, 11-time NBA champion, another GOAT as well. Bill Russell passed away on Sunday as well. Of course, his ability on the court as a player, as a coach, even off the court as well as a humanitarian, even being a representative. He's an honorary member of one of the native tribes in South Dakota as well. They hold a big tournament every year, and Bill Russell was always there, over, I think it was like a 3-4 day tournament. He'd be there every single year for it as well. So he was a highly respected figure in the world of basketball and among the indigenous population in South Dakota as well. And also late last night today, man, hard to say a world that we live in now without Vin Scully. Longtime broadcaster, most notably for the Los Angeles Dodgers. 67 years with one team, spanning his career from Jackie Robinson to Clayton Kershaw. Not a lot of people can say that, nobody can say that they went from generational talent to generational talent. Many moments that he was a part of in his career, and a true loss, of course, for Vin Scully. 98, 97, I think he was. He might have been that when 95. He passed away.
Yeah.
95, yeah. 95. Glad somebody's paying attention here today. But also try to end on a little bit of a lighter note as well. Former Vikings defensive end Jared Allen, hopefully going to be getting into the Pro Football Hall of Fame before too long. Being named the Vikings Ring of Honor. He will be honored and inducted to the Ring of Honor this upcoming season. Of course, that was announced late last week. And, that's going to do it for Shield Shoutouts this week.
Oh, I love it. Just Jared Allen, no one more deserving. Fan favorite, too. I mean, it's, yeah. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Doesn't surprise me one bit. So it's good. I'm feeling good that he got that, and then obviously sad with Vin, Bill Russell as well. And happy birthday to TFB. Revenge Tour Part 5, 6, whatever Revenge Tour we're on. We'll happy birthday, Tom Brady, 45. And, that'll do it for MinneZona this week. But we always end the show with some stuff that's... there's some cool stuff. We got shirts. We got merch, as you can see. 5 out of 5 shirts, 5 out of 5 hats are still available. $20, $5 shipping on both shirts and the hats. And then we got stickers. We got plenty of stickers that need to be stickered up. Yeah. But you can still get stickers, by the way. You could get them free because MinneZona Pick'em's coming up.
That's right.
MinneZona Pick'em's coming up, baby. So we got a lot going on with that. So we'll keep you posted. Again, thank you to National Fleet Graphic. Thank you to Tyler Knutson, Crown Rental, for everything with the stickers. They're fantastic. And make sure you check out W2 Performance, Will Rattel, at www.w2performance.com. He's got all new content. He's lifting weights. He's stronger than a lot of people. Let's put it like that. And
good for him.
Good for him. Check out Jack O'Keefe, Jack's Junkyard. And I have a little bit of news here too, Voldy, actually. You know our guy Gabs, Sam Gabrielli. He is taking a new job in Kentucky, Louisville, Kentucky, as a weatherman. So he will be leaving Minnesota, but that doesn't mean we can't have him on again. So we'll get Gabs back at some point. But congratulations to Gabs on the new gig.
All right, Gabs,
appreciate
good for him.
It. So he's going to Kentucky. I don't think he's been out of the state or worked out of the state, so this will be new for him. But I think he'll do well. He'll do awesome. But check out his podcast too, Breaking Into the League with Sam Gabrielli, Ryan Martin, available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And make sure you check out the victorious P.O.D. Fantasy Football is coming, people. Make sure you check out Ryan Walters, Jack Vickers on the victorious P.O.D. They've got a new episode out, doing some mock drafts, things like that. So get your fantasy football fill there as well. So, and also thank you to Alex Zappa, my guy Alex Zappa, for coming on the show.
Just a beauty, Alex Zappa.
We're gonna have him on again when the Wolf season starts up, and obviously Munson and Rattel, which we gotta set some more up. So we'll make sure we do that. But thank you for listening to the interview. The interview will be posted tomorrow on the YouTube, so you can check it out, watch all the highlights and things like that, and we'll have more content for you from that interview and a lot of other things, MinneZona. And football is on the horizon. That's the fun part about it. So, all right, but without further ado, remember, as always, folks, keep in the zone.
Holla.
Thank you for watching MinneZona Sports Live. Join us Wednesdays at 7 p.m. for live show broadcast. And as Voldy likes to say, follow us on all the socials medias.